Chidi was born without sight, but he never let it stop him from dreaming. He couldn't see the bright sun or the tall trees, but he could feel their warmth and hear their whispers. Chidi believed that one day, somehow, he would see. One bright afternoon, as Chidi sat by the village river listening to the sound of water splashing over rocks, an old woman came to him. Her back was bent, and her face was wrinkled with age, but her eyes sparkled with wisdom. "Chidi," she said softly, "I know you long to see the world. I know your heart is full of hope. There is a way, but it is not easy. You must go into the forest and find the sacred stone of the ancestors. Only those with pure hearts can find it, and it will grant you the sight you seek." Chidi felt his heart leap. Could it be true? He had heard stories of the sacred stone, but no one in the village had ever seen it. It was said to be hidden deep in the forest, guarded by spirits and animals that no one dared to approach. "Will you help me find it?" Chidi asked the old woman. She smiled and nodded. "I cannot go with you, Chidi. But I will give you a gift. This charm will help guide you. Trust your heart, and the path will be clear." Chidi took the charm from the old woman's hand. It was small and simple, made of a soft, warm piece of cloth tied with a string. He thanked her and set out toward the forest. The forest was thick and dark, filled with strange sounds and smells. But Chidi was not afraid. He had learned to trust his other senses, the feel of the earth beneath his feet, the scent of the trees, the wind on his skin. As he walked deeper into the forest, he felt the charm in his hand grow warm. He smiled. It felt like it was guiding him. Hours passed, and the forest grew even darker. The sounds of the birds and animals had faded away, and all Chidi could hear was the rustling of the leaves in the wind. He was tired, but he refused to give up. His heart told him to keep going. Then, as the moon rose high in the sky, Chidi heard something. It was a soft sound, like the gentle humming of a song. It was coming from just ahead. With all his strength, Chidi pushed forward, his heart beating fast. He felt the ground rise beneath his feet, and then he stepped into a clearing. In the center of the clearing stood a large stone, glowing faintly in the moonlight. Chidi knew this was the sacred stone. He felt a sense of peace wash over him as he approached. "Chidi," a voice said softly, like the wind whispering through the trees. "You have come, not just with your feet, but with your heart. You have trusted in the unseen, and now you shall receive what you seek." The ground beneath Chidi's feet began to tremble, and the stone before him began to glow brighter. Chidi reached out, his fingers brushing against its smooth surface. A warmth spread through his body, and then something incredible happened. For the first time in his life, Chidi could see. The world around him exploded with color. The trees were green, the sky was blue, and the stars above sparkled like diamonds. He could see the shape of the forest, the shadows of the animals moving in the distance. He saw the moon, bright and full, hanging high in the sky. He saw the sacred stone, now glowing with a golden light. Chidi gasped. He could hardly believe it. He looked down at his hands, his eyes wide with amazement. For the first time in his life, he could see with his own eyes. But just as quickly, the voice spoke again. "Chidi," it said gently, "you have seen with your heart long before you saw with your eyes. Remember that true sight is not just what we see with our eyes, but what we feel in our hearts. Keep your heart open, and you will always see clearly, no matter the darkness." Chidi nodded, his heart full of gratitude. He knew that while he had received the gift of sight, the real gift had been the lesson that true vision comes from within. He smiled, looking around at the world with fresh eyes. The forest was no longer a mystery. The world was beautiful, not just because of what he could see, but because he could feel its magic in his heart. As Chidi made his way back to the village, he did not just walk with sight. He walked with understanding. And from that day forward, he was not just Chidi, the boy who was blind, but Chidi, the boy who could truly see. And so, the story of Chidi and the sacred stone was passed down through the village. It was a story not just of sight, but of hope, courage, and the power of the heart.